So a little while back, I found a leak in my master cylinder, which shouldn't have been a big deal to replace, but when I was wrapping up the job, I ran into some issues and I ended up replacing the entire brake system on my Corvette. Take a look. Hey folks, I'm back with the 69 Vet, and a little while ago I posted a short on replacing the gasket for the cap on the master cylinder here because it was leaking. Unfortunately, it is still leaking, so I've decided to get rid of this old remanufactured unit and replace it with this brand new Wilwood master cylinder. Alright, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is get all this fluid out. Now, I think a lot of folks use like a turkey baster method. There's nothing wrong with that, but for about the same price, like no joke, you can get this at like Harbor Freight. You can just get one of their, let me see, can I get that into the camera? There we go. One of these little guys, like, yeah, this was I think $6. And it's great. It's great. You just kind of hand pump that stuff out, and it's good for little jobs like this, but it's also really good for things like if you need to, for example, work on a transmission or a rear diff, where you need to snake in a tube, help drain everything out, and it works super fast. If you couldn't already tell. All right, that was quick and easy. All right, so now we got pretty good amount of fluid out of the reservoir. We use a flare wrench and get these lines off. Now I soaked them for a few hours in penetrating oil. Yep, perfect. Nice and loose, pretty easy. Okay. Oh, this one not so much. There we go. Okay. So at this point, putting the new master cylinder on is basically just the reverse of taking it off. The only difference is that you have to bench bleed the master cylinder and then you bleed the rest of the system. But this is where things took a turn. Alright, so update. Been trying to bleed this master cylinder and I'm just having a really hard time. Got plenty of clear fluid and it seemed to be holding pressure, but I noticed that there was a little bit of wetness or just the tiniest bit of moisture around some of the flex lines in the front here. So I started taking off some of those. Got a couple of the rears off over here, and then this is one of the ones that came off the front. You can see it's definitely seen some better days. This is the one I got off the passenger side, but while I was doing that, unfortunately, the threaded end of the brake line just sheared right off. What was interesting actually about that is the threaded end going inside the flex line spun just fine, but it was the end of the actual brake line it was seized to, and when I took it off, it really came off with pretty much no effort at all. So this brake line is toast, and it honestly kind of has me worried because I did see some sediment come out, and you can imagine that that's in this brake line, it's probably in other brake lines, and it's also probably in my calipers, which is no good. So I have a couple of options here, but I've decided to go, honestly, the hard route and just completely redo the brakes on this car. These calipers, these are like a reman unit. These are not like the original Dalco Marine. calipers. Obviously, these are not the original rotors that came on the car. So I am going to put on a fresh set of Wilwood calipers and some new rotors here. The Wilwood calipers come as a kit, so you get stainless braided flex lines, really, really nice, along with pads, and then I got new rotors coming on too. And I'm going to do a whole new set of brake lines from inline tube, so that's going to be really cool. All right, so and along with that, I'm going to do the what is it? It's not a proportioning valve that's down in there. Oh god, distribution block, that's the word. All right, so to do this, I think what I want to do is I want to get this one line that I just showed you out. It goes in from the proportioning block. It goes down into over here, and you can see that it would go into each of the wheel wells. It kind of runs, this is it right here. It runs in front of this cross member. You can kind of see it there, and then my fan and stuff blocks the way, and that's held in through clips. So I'm going to try and get under the car and get some decent video footage of this. We'll see in a second. But yeah, I'm going to take this line off and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is actually a really awkward camera angle, but you can see on the front cross member here, there's little clips that hold this in, and here's the actual brake line itself. I will do my best to get a decent camera angle of removing this for video content purposes, but yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a pain. All right, so let's get to it. Oh man, there is one more screw holding this on. I'm not sure if you folks can see that. Let me see if I can get a decent camera angle. Weird little selfie stick thing here. Let's see. Can you see that? This little guy right over here? That's what's holding us on, and then I should be able to remove the line. Underneath. Okay, so here's that line we had before. Oop, I'm dripping a little bit over here. Okay, and now we got to get the other end out over there. Okay. Okay, so the final part of this line is actually running up and into the bottom of the distribution block here. So what I think I want to do is I think I want to just disconnect the other lines going into the distribution block, because I'm going to be replacing that anyway, and then this way I can pull the whole distribution block out and disconnect the line, or just pull the whole line out this way too, or you know, feed it through underneath or whatever. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So there's a little brake fluid like safety switch mechanism jobby right over here. I'm going to pull that off in a sec. I'm going to get this line off here, get my temp sensor out of the way. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So let's see here. You know what, while we're at it, I might as well just disconnect it from the master. So this one, let's see here. Okay, so that's right there. Alright, so change of plans. I'm going to do this line here at the master, and we'll just try to pull the whole distribution block out. Look at that. Okay. Let's get this out of here and on the ground. Okay, so next order of business is this line that was going into the distribution block. So this line, it goes, well, it comes up from here and then it runs alongside the steering box. Let's see, get my camera to focus. Come on, you. Okay, yep. So you can see it. I'm wiggling it here. It runs all along the top of the frame, and then it runs down. Let's see, can I get, there we go. It runs down and alongside the frame under the car. So I'm going to get another view of that. Hold on. Alright, so here it is coming down. Okay, oop. Kind of hard to see. Very awkward angle, but okay. And then it runs basically all the way down here. I gotta redo the undercoating on this thing. Alright, so it runs all the way down here. So let's see, past the cross member down there. Let's take a look at that actually, because that's where it gets complicated, because it's not too bad around there. Let's see, can I get... Okay. So you can see it just kind of runs along here, and there's some clips that are holding it in. I don't know if you can see that guy right there. A little bit of a pain in the butt to get to, but we'll see what I can do there. And then it goes up around this cross member and then through, and that's where things get a little complicated. I'm not quite sure how I want to do this, because I can cut this off. This, I mean, in the absolute worst case scenario, I could just cut the line, but oh man, that's gonna be tough. Let's see if I can get a better view. Okay. Let's see, can I zoom out a little bit? There we go. Alright, so coming back, you can see it runs through the middle cross member. Okay. And that's gonna be that's gonna be fun to fish through as well. But, okay, and then it comes back over here, and then it runs over this cross member here. All right, so it runs over the cross member, and then basically it comes out right over here into this like T block. All right, so you have the flex line. This is like the one of the flex lines I didn't do yet, but yep. This flex line goes into the T block, and then this line basically runs from driver's side to passenger side. So we'll do this one after, but this is the one I'm honestly I'm the most worried about. This one's going to be really, honestly, it's going to be challenging. I've never done one of these before, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so trying to get this line off of the frame, and it is a super tight fit. You got these little clips here, or I don't know what you would call these little holders here for the line, and they are screwed into the frame over behind what you can see here. It's a 1/2-inch bolt, and it is super tight between the frame and the body. I don't know if, yeah, I can't really see the edge of the body there, but it's pretty tight. But I have a secret weapon, which is this guy right over here. Let me see, can I get there it is. So this little guy, this is an Astro nano socket. I have no affiliation, I'm not getting paid to say any of this, but these things are awesome. So it is a very, very small socket, very shallow socket, and on the back of it, it takes, they make them a 1/4-inch drive, 3/8 drive, 1/2-inch drive, but this 1/4-inch drive one, you can obviously put a 1/4-inch ratchet on it, but it is a hex shape, and it will take an 11mm wrench. So, where am I? Where's my, where's my 11mm? So, you can take an 11mm wrench, put it on to your socket, and can I get that to focus? There you go. You got a nice, very, very, very shallow socket for these tough to reach places. Let's check this out. Alright, so now you can kind of see, I got the light on here much better. You can see that the socket is sitting just behind there, and it's got just enough clearance to fit in, so I can use a wrench around that to get that off. So that's going to be pretty helpful. Let's get this one off, and then we'll get to the last one. Alright, now this one is a real challenge. The nano socket won't even fit over it because the lip of the body is just sitting in here. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might just cut the clip and pull it out that way. Just pull the line out from underneath the clip, and then I'll remove the screw, and then I'll replace the clip afterward. I don't have to, like, I don't know how I'm even going to get it in, but this one is a real pain in the butt. Alright, so we're at the rear of the car. I had soaked these brake lines at this T-block for several days in penetrating fluid, and they're just really on there. You can see it's starting to strip out a bit. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the two hard lines in the back. The one all the way in the far back, that's the brake line that runs alongside the frame of the car. And the one kind of pointing outwards towards us is the line that runs passenger side and driver side of the rear. And then the flex line here. So I think I'm going to cut the lines, let everything drip out, and then I'll take out the retaining clip, the flex line, and the T-block. And then if I can salvage the T-block, that's great. Otherwise, I'll just replace it with a fresh one. Alright, so I cut the one line going from the driver's side to the passenger side, and I disconnected the flex line from the rear. But check this out. I was able to get the line in the back over here that runs from the front of the car where the master cylinder is into the back of the car into this T-block, and get this but in doing so, this is what came out. You can see just how messed up this line was. This is a long line, right, running pretty much the whole length of the car. And yeah, take a look at that. Pretty bad. pretty rusty, pretty corroded. And this part runs over the frame cross member. So, you know, this was just a matter of time. If it wasn't already contributing to the soft or spongy pedal, this was probably the main culprit. But in any case, I'm really glad that I've got this out, and then I'm replacing it. So, all right, cool. Let's get that T-block out. Let's get that rear line out, and then more fun with this one line along the driver's side, front to rear. All right, so this next line looks pretty easy. You can see where I clipped it off over here, and then it just runs along the side. You can see I already removed one of the screws. Take it under the pipe here. You got a little cross member thing where the diff sits, the differential sits, and then it just kind of keeps going and runs all the way to the other side. Just a few bolts there, so I'm going to get those out and get this this line out. I think it connects into like a Y block all the way at the end there. We shall see. Alright, I don't want to make this entire video about brake lines, so I'll skip ahead just a little bit. So at this point, the hardest part was over and the rest of the lines came out pretty easy. The one line that runs alongside the frame rail does need to go in from the front though in order to snake through that middle cross member, which you're going to see in just a moment. Alright, it's been a few days and I got some new parts, including a whole new brake line set from Inline Tube. So all new lines in here, and these are stainless lines. I've done plenty of lines in the past, but I've never used stainless, so this is going to be cool. I hear that they can be a little challenging to seal up, but I think the torque procedure is everything, at least what Inline Tube says about that. So this will be a bit of an adventure, to say the least. Aside from that, I also have some fresh hardware, also from Inline Tube, to mount the new lines, and from C3 Corvette, we have a couple of new junction blocks that will go in the rear. So nice quality seal. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get the long line that runs along the side of the car out of here. We're going to unbend it, get it into its rough shape, and then we'll try to snake it through the car and get it into position. All right, update. I have the long line roughly in place where I want it to be. So I've got the junction block on the driver's side mounted, and I have the line there. And then you can see coming out from the cross member, we got that long line coming out, and then roughly running along the frame. You can see it going through the midsection cross member there, and then I got this one clip here. It's just kind of holding it in place in the back here just a little bit. I am gonna, bring this stuff a little bit closer to the frame, the best that I can. But right now it's sitting pretty decent. What I want to do is, actually get the other line that runs around the front cross member connected to the proportioning valve and mount that proportioning valve. So what that'll do is it'll give me a nice good seal on a relatively difficult part to access, and then I can start bending the other end of this line here to fit into the proportioning valve and give us a nice good seal. All right, so let's go get that done. Okay, so I've got the distribution block installed onto the frame there, and not sure if you folks can see, but coming out of it, let's see, can I get a good camera angle? Yep, right out of the bottom, I have the line running up through the front cross member across the car, so we can see that runs along this cross member over here. So that's installed. That was the first line that I took off. So that one's in, and it's tightened up nice against the proportioning valve. It's kind of awkward angle, so I'm going to show a better shot of doing that. All right, so update. I've got pretty much all of the hard lines done. So the the distribution block is mounted. I've got the line that runs across the front cross member. I got the one that comes out the driver's side. I've got the big one that runs all the way down. Where is it? Here it is. All the way down along the frame. That one was the big pain. Got the one in the back running across the rear cross member. And, well, we've got these two lines going in from the distribution block into the master cylinder. I just basically have one more to do. It's really not the most fascinating procedure in the world in terms of getting this stuff in, and you already saw me struggle on getting that one line. The rest of them aren't too bad. But let's just do this one. And basically, the real trick to this is just basically doing it the way that you always should. So you're going to tighten it, or get it snug, and then tighten just a little bit more, then back it off. Snug, tighten a little more, back it off. Snug, tighten more, and you should be good to go. A lot of folks will just tighten it, and that will not give you the seal that you want to get. And the stainless steel is less tolerant. So I'm just about snug here. Okay. All right, so lines are done. Let's go put on these new calipers and rotors. All right, let's do a little unboxing of the fun stuff, shall we? So I got front and rear Wilwood calipers and lines. So open this up, and inside some cool stuff along with some stickers. But who cares about printed info, right? All right, flex lines. Gotta love these. So excited to get those on. Pads. Oh. Pads. How the heck do you open this thing? It's a sleeve. Duh. All right. Open these up. Take a look. Okay. Kind of your standard looking pad. Nothing really fancy there, I guess. But hey, you know, it's look fine. All right. So, pads, lines, and of course, calipers. Let's take a look at these. All right, we pull in a nice little bag. Get this out of the way here. All right, and there you go. So I didn't get the really nice painted ones. I just got the clear anodized calipers, but they are super light compared to the other ones. I think these are, I mean, they're anodized, so they're probably aluminum, right? So, yep, pretty nice, pretty nice. I don't know if you can get a look at the pistons in there, but nice and clean. There you go. Yeah, these are nice. I am excited. Up, and I went with R1s, R1 rotors. Okay. Now, a buddy of mine recommended these to me. I've never used R1 rotors before, but we're gonna find out if they're any good. Yeah, but a buddy of mine recommended these to me. And for what it's worth, he's a master technician for a very, very high-end automobile company, so I'll take his word for it. But okay, build and slide a rotor. Take some of this bag off, so folks can see. All right. I mean, the proof will be in the pudding, right? We'll see how long these last, if they pulsate or anything like that. But from what I can see, everything is pretty standard. So, okay, cool. All right, so put this down. Let's get back in the garage and get these on. All right, so let's do the front first. This is the passenger side, and if you couldn't tell already, these are not the original rotors and calipers. Definitely not the rotors. Calipers are some kind of a cheap reman. Maybe not cheap. I don't know. But anyway, they're coming off. I'll hang on to the calipers. The rotors I'm definitely going to let go of. And this comes off with, let's see here. Yep, this bolt over here. And then another one back here. So let's get those off. Let's get everything together here and prep for our Willwoods. Okay. Look at that. Shiny. Alright. So we got our caliper here, and well, they give us a little spot in the back here to do or to install the flex line fitting. So I'm going to try and I'm going to attempt to peel this off. Alright, so got the little sticker off, cool. So now, Willwood gives us some AN fittings to put on here. So I'm just going to get this one started. Put a little tape on the threads here. So, here we go. Alright, cool. So it's an AN fitting on one side, and then PTFE for the for the flex line itself. Excuse me. All right, cool. So now we got to get the pads in. So they give this little, like, I don't know what you would call that, butterfly clip, C-clip. It's kind of like a C-clip. And the pin slides out. Beautiful. Let's get our pads. Caliper. Pad number 1. Pad number 2. I do like these style of pads, or this caliper in general. It makes life a lot easier in terms of positioning your pads and all that stuff. Now, of course, doing this in front of a camera is a little bit tricky, but I'll see what I can do for you folks, just for the purpose of content creation. Come on, you. Come on. There we go. Great. So calipers loaded. Now I'm gonna rest this on a box, the pads, and then just get the clip back in. Okay. Cool. So now our caliper is together. We have our pads riding on the inside. Oop. Cool. And now let's get her on there. Alright, so before I put this back together, I do need to reuse my caliper bolts, and these are definitely not aluminum bolts, but that is an aluminum caliper. So, I mean, it's kind of optional, but personally, I like to just put a little anti-seize on the threads of my bolts. This way, it's not a pain in the butt to get the caliper off next time. And granted, I mean, like, it's not like this car's really going to see a lot of weather or anything, but hey, you know what? It's a good practice, right? Okay, so with our flex line, they give us an adapter for the new brake lines that we installed and a nice shiny new clip. So that's cool. All right, so let's get this guy installed first, and then we'll connect the flex lines accordingly. So, to give you an idea in terms of the positioning, I have our elbow sticking up just a little bit, and then this gives pretty nice range of travel. Throughout the back is the suspension and moves up and down, but overall, I'm very happy with that. All right, so this is basically the same procedure for all four corners. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back. All right, so we are all bled up. I think we're good to go. So I'm going to get the wheels back on here, and we'll take this out for a test drive, see how she does. Turn here, let's give it a good stop. All right. Got one more over here, give it a decently hard stop. Okay. I'm gonna fix this. Coming up on home now. Final stop. See how she does. Say that is mission accomplished. All right, so the brakes are working again, and they're totally leak-free. Granted, it set me back a bit in time and definitely set me back a bit in money, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with the result. The car stops great, and it's safer than it's ever been, so I guess I'll call that a win. Anyway, stick around for my next video, because we're going to talk about a totally different Corvette this time, and a different format too. It's going to be really awesome, and when it's up, you'll see it right over here.